Hi everyone, my name is Steph. I'm the owner here at Dippety Flowers and Gifts, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of the things that we get asked quite a lot about the business and about myself and what we do here. So let's jump right into it. So one of the most common thing we get asked is, what is the meaning behind the name Dippety? And it's quite a long and lengthy one, but I'll try and be as short as and sweet as possible. So Dippity is not often what actually people think it is. They often think, oh, you're dippy, you're a bit like ditzy. So you're a bit like not all there or something like this. It's like, no, well, dippy is quite different from ditzy. Um, I probably can be a bit ditzy sometimes, but dippy actually means a little bit crazy um, in a fun and pleasant way. I didn't actually know that this was also the definition in the dictionary. The reason why we named it Dippety was actually because of my father. When I was growing up, he used to call me Dippy, because he used to think that when I would switch between so many projects, um, whether it be I'd be wanting to do plants, or I'd want to draw, or I'd want to do something with nature or do something with animals, and I'd have all these projects going all at once, and I would just keep swapping and changing between the things I'd like to do. And he would say that, oh man, you're so dippy, you just keep dipping between all these projects, and you never could really be a master of one. You were kind of like a jack of all trades, as they like to say. So that's where that kind of name came from, because I was dippy and I would dip between lots of different things, and have lots of passions and lots of hobbies. Um, Maybe that's being a millennial. I don't know if you're supposed to say that. um, but yeah, so I was quite dippy. So Dippety became, and it still is, a combination of all my passions, all my hobbies, all the things I absolutely love and want to share with everyone else. So it's all about candles. It's all about like plants. I love plants. I know a lot of you love plants, house plants in particular. We fill our house with them. They become our little escape from the world inside our own house. And incense, I love incense, so we brought that in. Flower arranging has always been a massive big part of my life before I even went to study flower arranging and how to become better at doing that and become a professional. Um, it was graphic design, drawing, art, jewelry making, sculpting, handicrafts, crocheting, like everything you could possibly imagine is all come together in what has become my big dippy household of all these beautiful gifts. So that's the meaning behind dippy. I'm a little crazy too, so that does, in a good but pleasant way. So that's the meaning behind that. So that kind of takes me into the next question, which is what kind of things do you guys offer um, here at Dippy? So we kind of offer a diverse range of gifts and flowers and dried goods as well. So it's kind of custom made to suit what our customer needs. We offer candles, they're all soy wax candles, fragrance, and we do offer some more beautiful essential oil candles as well. Um, so like they're all kind of like cutely gift packaged and everything, so they're quite nice. And the smell lasts quite a while, and from the reports I've heard, they can burn constantly for up to like 48 hours, like nearly 2 days. So it's quite a long time. So yeah, they got quite a long burn time. So that's quite cool to hear. And so we do incense. We do incense backflow burners. So they're really quite cool. I'll see if I can go get one. So that's these guys here. So the kind of insect cone sits on top here, and it flows backwards into like a waterfall. So it's really cool. So we found those while we're out and about in our travels, and we kind of thought we'd want to add those to the collection. So we're kind of always doing that. We're just kind of out looking about, seeing things that we really love, or seeing ideas that we really love, and bringing it and sharing it with all you guys, because that's what we're all. And we do fresh flowers, so we do custom made orders on fresh flowers. We do drieds as well, so someone who wants something a bit more long lasting, we do drieds as well. So we do plants, indoor plants. A lot of those are grown ourselves. We do some natives as well, and yeah, I think we do helium balloons. Oh, we do blooming teas. I forgot to say that. I can't forget the blooming teas. So we do blooming teas. So the little tea balls that kind of, when you put them in hot water, they open up and blossom into a beautiful flower. But they also taste really good. So yeah, and that was kind of like another thing where like we because we love tea so much, and our name is kind of Dippy, which like we like dip between different projects. Tea had to be on the range. Like you can't not have tea on the range when you Dippy. Do you guys deliver? Yes, we do. We do deliver. We do deliver locally, and we do post as well via Australia Post. So we pretty much cater to a 30 to 40k radius around Diagula. If you guys don't know where that is, so that's kind of on the Sunshine Coast hinterland, slightly inland of Caboolture, Bribie Island. So it's up in the mountains there. So we love it up here. It's beautiful climate, perfect humidity and temperature for indoor plants. This is why we also have those up here. But yeah, we pretty much run a 30k to 40k radius around Diagula locally. And then outside of that, we use Australia Post to post non-perishable goods. So things like candles. We do post the teas, incense, little homewares and gifts. And then for flowers, we do use an international and a national relay system, so a network of florists that we can exchange between orders. So say if you need flowers delivered to Melbourne or Sydney, but you live up here and you don't know where to go, or you kind of want to see what you're probably going to get, you can always just let us know, and what your kind of needs are, what you'd like to send, or what your budget you had in mind, and we can kind of organize that for you, and like source a beautiful florist that's down there that can kind of cater to your need, and we kind of take care of it all for you. So that's kind of been the benefit of doing it that way. However, when you order through a florist, through a relay system or a florist network, you pretty much have a guarantee that it's going to look as close as possible to what you saw in a photo, or when you looked in at the shop, and the quality is quite a high standard. Because you have to meet certain criteria to be a relay member within this florist network. So it's quite a high standard. The florists are all professionals. There is no kind of question as to that. But yeah, so it's kind of like, what do you call it? It's kind of a little bit of peace of mind that someone's kind of taking care of it all for you, and you're not having to do all the run and checkups yourself. Because if something goes wrong and it's not to your liking and you're not 100% satisfied with it, you can always get back in touch with us, and we kind of do all the chasing up for you, which is kind of helpful and takes a little bit of the stress out of it. So yeah, that's pretty handy in that way. But yeah, so yeah, we do 30k radius, and we do Australia and Australia wide for post, and for flowers we can do local, national, and international now. So yeah. Do we have a shop front? So we have this beautiful little business shop here, here at our place in Diagula. Um, Currently, due to the way our business is run by myself solely. Um, so we do offer the ability to walk in by appointment, just because I sometimes have to go and do deliveries, and I try and do a lot of it myself. So at this stage, we do allow people to come in and have a look if they would like to. But yeah, if you do want to come and have a look and check out what we've got in stock, um, obviously you can do that online, but you're welcome to come in person. Because some people like to come in and smell what kind of candles smell like. What does vanilla caramel smell like? How good does that smell? Victorian rose scented candles, what does that smell like? Some people like to physically hold the thing in their hands, which is, we're all for that. Go for it. Touch it, feel it, use it how you want. It's what we're about. So we're about experiences here. So yeah, the only thing we do ask is if you could just phone ahead or send us a message, send me a text. I'm totally cool with text. In fact, text is probably easier for me because I could be out on deliveries and things. So yeah, feel free to send me a text. It's 0438480080. So send me a text and just say, oh look, I'm looking to stop by around this time. Is that cool? And I'll say, oh yeah, cool. No, or sorry, I'm just out on delivery. Or could we make it a bit later or a bit earlier, or tomorrow or something like this? And yeah, I'm happy to try and work in with you. We have pretty flexible business hours. Like, yeah, we have set hours on our Google My Business page, but we're pretty chill because we live here. So I kind of don't mind if you can't make it till 7 p.m. I'm like, that's totally cool. Or Sunday, like, if we're home, yeah, it's fine. That's fine. So yeah, just let me know and we can arrange this to have the shop open for you so you can come have a look. But yeah, so that's kind of the premise we work from. And it's mainly online and by phone call. But yeah, you're welcome to arrange an appointment to come in and have a look and smell some candles or pick up some plants and walk through our garden. You're welcome to. So yeah, let me know. Another question is, when will I receive my order after placing my order? And that will depend on what kind of products you're purchasing. So for example, and I guess where you're also situated. So if you're situated in our local regional area, within our 30k radius, and you would like a candle delivered today, we can do that. We're happy to do that. That's not something that's out of our ability. It's kind of same day only becomes a problem when you live outside our local area and it's not something we have readily in stock. So to say, for example, we have sold out of our vanilla caramel scented candle. So, and you would still like some delivered. So those candles pretty much have a kind of cure period when they're made. So they kind of might take up to 3 days to arrive. But we normally just say for most stuff that's in stock, ready, available in our local area, you can pretty much get that the same day. Anything that's not in stock, please just allow for up to 7 days. Or 7 to 14 days, just in case we have to order stock in to make those, because some of the stuff we do make in-house, like our candles, our flower arrangements, our dried flower arrangements, we do often make those in-house, so that if we don't have a particular thing in stock, it may take a couple of days for us to get those in, so then we can make it up for you. So stocked items in our local area, same day, out of stock items allow up to 7 to 14 days. In our local area. Same with if you're outside our local area and you live within Australia, probably allow up to 7 to 14 days for that one too, because Australia Post, in all their glory, can be a little bit temperamental with their delivery time frames. So just allow for up to 7 to 14 days. If you haven't received it within the 14 days, let us know and we'll try to follow that up for you, because it normally doesn't take longer than 14 days. So yeah, that with that in mind, so stuff with Australia Post 7 to 14 days. Florist Network stuff is pretty much, if you order before 2 p.m., you can pretty much get it the same day, or if at latest the next day. But just let us know, basically, if you need something by a certain day, try and get in as early as possible. 2 weeks notice is always fantastic if you know there's a birthday coming up. If you can't, a week's notice, we can normally sort something out. At a pinch, at least the day before is always good, just to make sure we can kind of cater to your needs of get something in, especially if you're living in our local area. If the day before is fantastic, it just helps us sort it all out for you, and it means we can get it to them, the recipient or yourself, in a timely manner as well. So yeah, that'd be great. Do you go to markets? We used to go to markets, actually. So we used to do the Woodford country markets in Otter Street, and we used to also do the Twilight market there as well, which was really cool. That's actually really magical. So if you do get a chance to go to that, I would highly recommend taking a stroll through there of a twilight evening. So the reason why we stopped doing that was because, unfortunately, some of our products, especially in summer, are perishable and they are easily temperature affected. So it just kind of didn't work out for us. Markets, I think, are a great means of getting your name out there if you're a business and you're trying to start somewhere and you're wanting to test the waters and see what your target audience looks like, and what kind of demographic they fit in, and what other people out there are selling, and what competitors there might be in your area and what they do and how your style and your products are different from theirs. That's a good way to start, and it was great for us to start. That's how we did start. We started out just doing market stalls, and it was very helpful for us to kind of figure out and talk to our customers and see what they liked and what they didn't like and what they think we could do better or what else we could offer. And it's also how we actually collaborated and found some of our suppliers as well, our local suppliers, it's really handy to definitely go do markets and to give it a try, even if it doesn't work out for you in the long run, like it didn't for us. It is obviously outdoors, a lot of markets, so bear that in mind. That was the one thing we kind of struggled with, having indoor plants and candles and fresh flowers that, because outdoors, a lot of it was affected by the weather, and especially here in Australia when we have such crazy weather events that swing throughout the springtime, summer season. So just be mindful of that. Have a really good gazebo, and a really good plan in place for what happens if a weather event does come through. We had one crazy night at one of the Twilight markets when a massive storm just kind of popped out of nowhere, and it kind of swept through like a tornado. I had not seen anything like it in my time of being in business. Or attending market stalls. It was quite hectic. Stuff just went flying everywhere. And unfortunately, we lost a fair bit of stock that night. So due to it getting absolutely drenched, some of it blew away and got damaged. So yeah, I honestly, if it wasn't for some of the lovely people in the local Woodford area, Diagula area, that raced in to help, and we were all just hanging off out my gazebo, and my partner as well. Like, I don't know what I would have done. So always, do plan for those. It really did help us plan ahead, like have boxes that we could just quickly, if an event like that comes in, just quickly shove it all into these boxes. That was kind of what we did moving forward. However, we did notice that a lot of our plants were starting to get burnt, just from there being the sun. You're out there for several hours, so if like you don't have adequate shade, and we had so much stuff that we'd take that it kind of would spill out of the stall. So stuff was getting burnt, candles from bringing them out of the shop and then setting them up. And the heat being out there was different to what we'd have in the shop, which was temperature controlled here. We were having a lot of discoloration and things like that in our candles. Our soaps were just being temperature affected, and obviously fresh flowers, being out of cold rooms, they start to age, and it being in the sun and in the heat, they wilt a lot faster, and they just don't have as long a shelf life as you have when we have our shop set up here and we can keep everything in pristine condition and temperature controlled. So yeah, so we don't do markets anymore, unfortunately. I probably don't really have a plan to revisit markets either, just because of that fact. We do sell too many perishable items that could be easily damaged, and we want to keep our products in tip-top quality. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so I like everything to be amazing quality. And if there's the risk of it not being that, I'd probably just rather not kind of do it at all. So sorry, guys. We often get asked whether we grow some like all the flowers that we use in our fresh flowers and dried arrangements ourselves. And the answer to that is a little bit of a combination. We do grow some of the flowers ourselves here. We do grow roses, we do grow gerberas, we grow filler flowers, we grow some natives, some dahlias, what else? We globe amaranths, gladioli, daffodils, early cheers, and just a variety of little things that we can grow here. We don't have a big property, so we can't grow a lot of stuff. We're definitely not a flower grower. So let me just say that right now, we don't grow flowers to resell to wholesalers and things like that. It's mainly just to supply ourselves and try and keep our price as low as possible for our customers, because we know it gets crazy out there. We all know it's crazy out there. So we don't really want to be passing on hefty prices to our customers, because it's just not cool. So yeah, we do try and grow as much as we can in-house, where possible. But yeah, we do stock a lot from wholesalers, just because of our specific climate. We can't grow everything here. Not everything is suited to this climate. Some things just rot because of the high humidity up here. I know a lot of people struggle with natives in this area because it's so humid. They don't like humidity, so we don't grow a lot of those. But yeah, so it's good to support other growers. I think it's pretty handy if you know someone close by that we can source from, and we're happy to collaborate with most farmers in the area. Like we already work closely with a lady around here who grows beautiful natives and some other beautiful flowers up here. So yeah, we're really open to kind of sourcing Australian stock as much as possible, because Australian farmers really do it tough here. We have a lot of restrictions and a lot of paperwork that they have to meet, and there is a lot of hard work involved in farming here. I grew up on farms, and yeah, it's a lot of hard work. So I take my hat off to anyone who goes into farming for a full-time job. It's a big deal. And I think more people really need to support our local growers as possible, including the wholesalers. We really need to push for supporting locals first before we import. Not to say that we shouldn't import, because like I said, not everything grows everywhere. Like you can't just grow, the perfect, like mainly natives. Like natives can be really picky. You can't just grow the perfect native and in Queensland. It's not always the case because we have such, temperamental climates here that like we lost all our natives last season because of the rain event that we had up here. So a lot of them just died out. There's too much water. They don't like it. Everything was soggy. We had barely had a week with no rain. I barely could get washing done. So yeah. Not everyone can grow everything, so it's okay that we need to import some things, but I think if there is Australian growers here, I really think we need to support them first if possible. So we do opt, when we do buy from wholesalers, to buy Australian made and grown first. Then if that stuff's not in stock, then we do import. But other than that, yes, we do grow some stuff ourselves to basically fill in the gaps that local farmers cannot quite meet at this stage. But hopefully, the more people who jump on that bandwagon and get into flower farming in our local area, that should hopefully change. So I'm keen to see that. Do we use pesticides on our plants and on our products? So in regards to that, we do use organic and natural means of controlling our insects and from damaging too much of our stock. So to say that we use pesticides in general, I would say we do, but not to the extent that most people think that pesticides are. Obviously, all pesticides kill insects and kill pests, but we're quite selective on how we do that. That's quite gentle on the planet and on ourselves. We don't use any harmful chemicals here that we would be afraid to eat our products at all. No, because we pretty much do grow our own vegetables here as well. So for our own personal use. So, and we have chickens, and we also have 2 blue-tongue lizards and a dog. So I don't use anything here that I would be slightly concerned that they would potentially eat, and even for ourselves. So we pretty much mainly use things like neem oil, white oil on ornamentals, on our indoor plants, and beneficial insects. So they are actually insects that prey upon other insects, which can be quite brutal when you think about it, but it's kind of like the natural way of nature. So we kind of, when a pest kind of gets out of control, it normally means that the balance is it's out of whack. It's not stable anymore. So we have to re-establish that balance. Well, that's what we try to do here. So say we have an overabundance of like mealybug or something like that. So when we have that, we would introduce things like Cryptolemus. So they're like a little lady beetle. Probably not the same as you see, not the one with spots, but we do have an Australian lady beetle that does feed on mealybug. So we'd introduce those for things like spider mite, which often affect a lot of indoor plants, just because the stagnant nature of air in most houses. Once they get in there, it seems to be a perfect environment for them. Good warm environment with stagnant, not moving, flowing air is generally what spider mites really like. So when we have those, we can often introduce another little mite that doesn't harm humans at all. In fact, it can actually be used to benefit poultry. So you've got the Neocalifornicus, which is a little mite that actually eats the spider mite. So they feed on each other, and then they can re-establish themselves and cancel each other out. And the Persimmilus, it's another great one. But yeah, they've actually been doing trials that using these mites in chicken farms and chicken coops, where they actually get rid of a lot of your mites in these chicken houses, especially the Neocalifornicus, because they're quite varied eaters. They can eat other things. They don't just solely feed off spider mite, which is quite handy in once the balance has been restored between the pest and the bug that you don't consider a pest. But yeah, so they can eat other things and they don't just move on or die out. So that's quite handy. So we do try and use them. We do use a few other, just like what's the word? Quite gentle pesticides like white oil, and it's kind of like only topical. And we do use like a homemade pesticide too, which is made using natural food ingredients. So I wouldn't consider that harmful at all. So to answer that question, we do use pesticides, but we don't use any harmful ones, and that ones that I would say would be harmful to us humans or to our animals or to the environment. We are very earth kind here at Dippety. We try and minimize as much impact on the environment as possible, meaning we even source like a lot of our floral products that are either biodegradable or just don't have too much plastic in them. So we use as little plastic as possible, use little chemical as possible. So yeah, how do I care for my plant now that I've bought this thing? So that's a question we get asked a lot, but it's quite a varied answer. Indoor plants and plants in general are quite specific in their care needs. It's basically comes down to what species you have, what kind of plants you have. A lot of our plants here are indoor, which means they don't like full sun. So they're morning sun or indirect light for most of our plants here. And how I would recommend people care for their for their plants after they've bought them is to when they bring them into their house, have a good look at it, have a good check it out, put it in a nice pot, and try and figure out probably the best spot in your house, if you haven't found a spot already, that receives the best indirect light, is probably the brightest house light room in your house that doesn't get direct sun. If possible, that gets morning sun. Plants love morning sun, and they do really well in morning sun, especially indoor plants. A biggest issue a lot of people have comes down to watering. Watering, in my opinion, it's really easy to overwater, and it's also really hard to save a plant that's been affected by overwatering, which is why I think it's such a big problem, because usually when you found out that your plant is dying because of overwatering, it's really hard to save, and it's probably already too late, because most of the death is caused by root rot, which happens underneath the soil, so you don't actually know it's happened until the plant's showing that it's dying on top, but by that stage the roots are pretty much dead, unfortunately. You might be able to salvage some roots if possible, and like trim it back, repot it, and try and save it, but it's normally really hard to do that because once rot's set in, it's really hard to stop. It's a lot easier to save a plant from underwatering, because normally they start to tell you above the soil, and you can normally just water it and it kind of bounces back, especially with things like peace lilies. They are notorious for being dramatic when it comes to watering, and they flop down and they go all sad looking, but you just dribble some water on it and boom, they're like back up and like, hey, we're fine, we love you. So my tips for watering would be pretty much water it once a week. If in doubt, normally, especially if it's got draining holes, once a week. I normally stick your finger, use the good old trusty finger here, appendage, and stick your finger into the soil, like a good length of the way down, if possible, and feel how it feels. Does it feel moist? If it does, forget about it. Don't water it. If it feels bone dry, like the soil moves away and fluffs out, like I don't know, like sand in the wind, it's dusty. If it's dusty, yeah, it's probably a good time for water it. I normally just put it in the sink, because a lot of pots also don't have drainage holes. I personally don't like pots with drainage holes because I like to keep my furniture nice and pretty. I hate I hate water on the floor. So I actually don't like pots with drainage holes, but that's just me. Some people find that really hard to try and figure out the watering schedule for on plants that don't have drainage, so they like drainage holes. So if you've got drainage holes, just put it in the sink, give it a good like couple of minutes, running water through it, and then just put it back, and beautiful. That's watered for the week. If you run air cons quite a lot, I find that you probably might have to water your plants a bit more regularly. That's where the finger trick comes in handy, because a lot of air cons do sap a lot of moisture out of the air, so it's kind of a good idea to just do a check that way. Plant pots and ceramic pots that don't have drainage holes definitely have to be watered a lot less, so definitely use the finger check for that. I kind of let the plants tell me what they need. They kind of you can kind of tell the leaves, kind of the edges start to roll up a little bit. That's a good sign. And yeah, obviously full droop is when they're kind of screaming at you help. So that's kind of the best method for that. But mainly just check your plants regularly. Use the finger check. Have a look over them regularly. Pests can come in from all directions. Spider mite, so easy to bring in. You just have to go walking outside and you'll bring them in on your clothes, in your hair. So it's really easy to do that. So yeah, just check over them. If you noticed, spots or black marks or drafts are big ones. If you've got air cons, try not to put plants near air cons, because the drafts can sometimes affect some indoor plants. So it's good to just kind of keep them in a nice, controlled somewhat environment, if possible. But yeah, just check them over if you start to notice some like spots and stuff. Do some research. Obviously, if you have any questions, give me a call or give me a text or send us an email or message, or however you like to get into contact. And I'm more than happy to help. We do have experience in horticulture and nursery, so we have worked for nurseries in the past. So I actually worked as a propagation manager, as well as a propagation hand and nursery worker. So I do know a little bit about growing plants. So yeah, if you have any questions, I'll try my best. I obviously don't know everything there is to know about plants. No one really knows everything about anything. I'm just going to say that and put it out there. So I don't know everything there is to know about plants, but I will try my best to find out if I don't know something, or hopefully point you in the right direction of someone who might know or be able to help you out, or some information that might help. So yeah, kind of scary one we get asked a lot is, do you worry about competitors? Well, I think everyone worries a little bit about competitors, especially if they're close competitors. But in reality, no, we kind of don't really focus on competitors either. It's good to know who your competitors are in your local area, and and have a brief idea of what they do, and what their style is, what's their kind of products they sell, and how they're different from yours, and making sure your products are different from theirs. I think it's really important, because it is an unspoken rule that you don't just rock up into a area and create something that is exactly like something else, or sell the exact same product for the same price, the same style as them. Admittedly, it's really hard. It is kind of hard to do, because everyone is so unique personally, personality wise. So what you do is usually a little bit different from someone else. But if you go into business wanting to do exactly what someone else does, that's kind of really mean. And it's kind of a bit rude and disrespectful as well to that business. But in regards to competitors, we actually try not to think about them too much. we try and we people put a lot of focus on competitors, and you can get really caught up in what your competitors are doing, and I don't think that's actually really healthy for you. It changes something in the brain. I don't know if you've ever seen someone do something similar to you before. It doesn't matter if it's in business or you just personally, someone starts to dress like you or something. It's not, it is kind of a jealousy thing, and it's a twinge of jealousy, I think, or like, I don't know. I wouldn't say it's jealousy though. It's something else. It's just this unpleasant feeling in your mind that triggers when you see this or you hear about it or something like this. And it's not healthy to have that in the back of your head always, because it makes you focus on them and not yourself. Because, like I said before, what someone else does, if it's not unique to them, it won't stick. Like the same, if you do something that's not unique to you or doesn't feel natural to you, it won't stick, and you won't stay with it. You'll change it in a couple of years or something like this. So you need to find what's unique to you. So worrying about competitors, I think, is not healthy. I think focusing on them too much is definitely not healthy and definitely not good for your business. So I don't actually like looking into them too much, to be honest. We don't really focus on it. We know where they are. We know what they do roughly. But really, we don't actually care. That sounds really mean, but I don't really care about competitors. You do you. You kind of do you. You do you. You know, obviously, we do sell similar things, like we all sell fresh flowers, or we sell candles, or we sell gifts. Like a lot of places don't. A lot of places do. Like you see clothes shops in a shopping mall. They all sell clothes, but they all sell different clothes, or they all sell a different style of clothes, or they all sell a different size of clothing, or or with different things on them. And that's what I think you need to, if you're going into business and you're worried about competitors, I would tell you, stop focusing on your competitors. Focus on what you love. Focus on what you do well, what works for you, and really focus on that. And try and just ignore. If you have to turn off your social media, probably not turn it off, or just don't. If you see a competitor, kind of just scroll past it. Like, don't really get hung up on what they're doing. I actually don't even watch. If a competitor's post comes up on my Facebook feed, I don't even watch it, to be honest. Just because it's not the fact that I'm not interested in what they're doing, or that I don't like what they're doing. It's the fact that it can be psychologically damaging to get too caught up on what they're doing. Like I said, you can obviously see it. You go, oh yeah, cool, that looks nice, and then just keep going. Just keep going. Don't just get so focused on it that it becomes, because it is, I would say, addictive. I would say it would be addictive, that you can really get caught up in that vibe. Jealousy and that kind of resentment can trigger almost like a feel good. It feels good, like whining does, and complaining can feel good. In the same way, I feel like getting hung up on what other people are doing, and starting to bitch about what they're doing. It's like, oh, this person's doing this, and it's like what I'm doing, and oh, look at how they're doing it. It's toxic, and it's not good for your health, and it's just not good to get caught up on it. So, know who they are, acknowledge them. If you can, just honestly, some of our competitors we actually have really good rapport with, and we actually exchange conversations and exchange services and help each other out. So we have some people here that also sell flowers as well, but sometimes I don't have the flowers the customer needs, so I'll actually ask to see it. do you have this, or vice versa, or can you do this one, or I don't do this service, do you do this service? And they might go, yes. So we kind of like go, okay, well, here's this customer, I'll refer them to you, kind of deal. So it's good to have some good relationship with your competitors if you can, if you're open to that, and if they're open to that. Like I said, it's that whole competitor thing can be very touchy. It really depends on how the person reacts to it and how the person personally takes competitors. It's nice to see when competitors work together, because like I said, we're all unique. We might all do, just in general, people might all do similar stuff, but it's obviously different in its own unique way. So we're all different, we're unique, we've all got our own different lives and our own different way we put ourselves, our personality into our businesses. So to say that we're doing exactly the same thing is kind of hard to do. So I don't really like this whole competitive culture thing where we're so nasty towards each other, because there is no need for it. We're all just trying to make a living. We're all just trying to, better ourselves and grow and share what we love doing. So we might as well do it happily together. How did we set up the business? How long did it take? So we've been actually running Dippety for a very long time, actually. It's not, I wouldn't say very long time, but we've actually been running it for since 2017. So it kind of just started out as a hobby, as a business idea. It wasn't even a business idea. It was actually just a hobby. It was started off even before that, where I actually wasn't making any profit out of it. I was just kind of making things and giving them to friends and family. Which then people said, you should do this as as a business. You should sell these. These are really good. So I was like, okay, well, all right. So we kind of got an ABN and we went from there. So when I say in the grand scheme of things, it's probably been like 5 years since it really started to develop. So you hear of a lot of businesses, they're wanting to make start up and jump out the door and hit the ground running, which is totally possible to do. The problem is becoming financially stable to do that. A lot of the times you do need to take out a business loan or a personal loan to help you do that. If you have that idea of how you want your business to kind of go, but bear in mind, to get established, it does unfortunately take a year or two to get established, and to get your name out there, to get regular customers. Even if you do get a business loan, it does take at least 12 months to get like everything in order. Like get websites going, get socials set up, get them advertising, get them running, and easily taking orders, and then you're being able to send out orders. So it's not a quick thing. It's not a quick way to make bucks. In fact, you're probably not going to make a profit in the first year. Yeah, I did say that. I know we had many years where we didn't actually make a profit. So I'm going to tell you a little secret that you're probably not going to like hearing, but you're probably not going to make a profit in the first year. It's going to probably take at least a year and a bit before you actually start seeing some return, especially if you're alone. So a little secret, we didn't actually take out a loan. We kind of just grew as the business grew and as we grew. So that's quite a lengthy process, if you want to do it that way, but we found a rewarding process, and it was a gradual process for someone who doesn't like a lot of change, and we don't like things happening really quickly. Then that's a really good process to take, and I would highly recommend it. It's obviously a lot slower, so it's taken us 5 years to get to a stage where we kind of have been able to give up our day job and run it full time. So spoiler, yes, we did quit our job. We did quit our day job to run this full time. So we're very excited that that is at the step that we're at now. It's quite a rewarding project. It's very challenging. It can be stressful. I've had many sleepless nights. So yeah, I probably wouldn't. I wouldn't want you to get the impression that it's going to be, or candy canes, lollipops, and unicorns. Uh, it's not. It can be quite stressful. As but there are a lot of beautiful moments in every day that you realize it is so nice working for yourself. So definitely highly recommend working for yourself. But yeah, so it takes quite a long process. Be patient with it. I know that's hard to do and it's easy to say, but it is very. You got to keep checking yourself all the time, going look at and regularly check in with how you've progressed. Like, see where you were, look back to where you were when you first started, and go, look how much I've achieved. Look how much I have done in that space of time. And be kind to yourself, because we are often our own worst critics. So I used to beat myself up a lot, hypothetically. It's going, I'm not here. I want to be blah in this many months, or I'm not there yet. What's going on? And why am I not there yet? Why am I not as successful as I would like to be? And then I look back and I go, well, I was doing this at the time. I was working my day job at the time. I was, only having this many hours left to try and work on the business and fit personal life and sleep in there. And I was realizing that I was cutting out a complete, whole aspect of my personal life because I was putting all these demands on myself to get these certain needs met that I wanted. But we often put way too much pressure on ourselves to achieve so much in a small space of time that we don't give ourselves credit for what we have achieved and cherish those little moments and those successes that we have had. So yeah, I would say don't go into business thinking it's going to be a quick fix or a quick way to make a living, because it's not. It really isn't. You have to live what you do. And as I said, and why Dippety is called Dippety is because it is who I am. It is my life, and that's why we went into business. Just because we live and breathe this every day, and it makes sense that we want to share it with everyone. It's only it's only realistic that we would turn that into a business, and that's how we live, because we're constantly here. Like I said, even when people ask, when are you available? I'm like, I'm always available. I'm always available because this is what I do. I probably would be classified as a workaholic. And sometimes they would say I'd borderline ADHD because I constantly have to be in it, and I have no work and personal life. It's all work, no personal life. So they would say that, but I don't feel that way, and I still find time to have me time, and I enjoy it. So it is a full-time gig. It's not really something you can not throw yourself fully into. You kind of have to be fully committed to do it. You realize that there's probably going to be sleepless nights, and there is going to be personal time chewed into. Obviously, you can set better boundaries the more successful you become, I think, because I noticed that when I was first starting out, I was actually spending way more time than I should have on the business, and now that we are a little more self-sustainable, I've kind of set some better boundaries, I think, on the business. We're still really, really flexible into regards to when people want to order and things like that. But you kind of set better boundaries. Like when we first started off, I would answer messages, ridiculous time of the night, because I didn't want to, I was so scared of losing that customer, and every customer meant the world to me, and they still do. But I've also been better at putting more boundaries in place. So like after a certain time, I'm like, all right, like say it's 8, 9 o'clock. I'm like, all right, this is getting a bit late now. So if they message me after 9 o'clock of a night time, I'm kind of would leave it to the next day, kind of deal. Because you need to set some time for yourself. Otherwise, you're not a machine. You can't run 24/7. You need to sleep and you need to spend time with your family. Otherwise, things like relationships will, suffer, and families suffer, and your health also suffers. I know some of you know this. I have a few health conditions. One of the other reasons why I gave up my job, that you can't always put yourself second. So you do need to look after yourself, especially if you have some health conditions. Stress is huge. Stress plays a massive part on impacting your health and your happiness. So when you add stress to the mix with other health conditions as well, it can just really, aggravate those conditions and make them a lot worse and harder to deal with. And that impacts your happiness, and that impacts how much you're actually able to do for the business and how much happiness that business brings you. So I would definitely say, be patient, be kind to yourself. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. I know it's hard to say. It's easy to say and hard to do. But really need to take a step back. I'm still learning how to do that, on setting boundaries and learning to be patient and not expect everything now that we live in a very now society. Just enjoy the journey. Just cherish the small moments. Give yourself credit for those small achievements that you make. And you don't expect really quick returns when you're setting up a business. Plan for it to be, at least 2 years before you're really successful in it. Like I said, it took us a lot longer, between 5 or 6 years, 7 years, for us to get going, because we started off so small as a hobby, and we slowly grew from there, and we worked our day job the whole time. It was only the start of 2024 that we actually gave up our day job. From this whole time that we started it in 2017 to 2024 was we were working a part-time job or a full-time job. So that's why it does take so long to do it that way. But yeah, it's definitely doable in shorter space of time. But yeah, don't be afraid of giving it a shot. I would just say, go in, start your idea, start, doing this in a small way, start your business in a small way, whether it's market stalls, whether it's on Marketplace on Facebook, or whether it's, just in your local community or something like that, or with your family and friends. Just start doing it small like that and see where it goes. Just get a feel for it. And I think that is really the best way to start getting into business and figuring out how long it's going to take you and what's the best method that you take, whether you take out a business loan or you just keep plugging away while you're working a day job. That's honestly the best way that we found. It's not the best way for everyone, but just feel it. Go with it. Just, go with the flow. Don't try and fight things. If you're fighting it, it's probably not going to work. Find a way that just flows, and go with that. And if you have any more questions that you guys would like answered, please put them in the comments and I'll try my best to answer them on my next video. So I hope you found this video helpful or informative, or I don't know if it was entertaining, but sure. But yeah, if you like this video, please like, share, subscribe, and to see more of our stuff and more of our content and for more of these videos. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'm Steph from Dippety Flowers and Gifts, and hope you have a great day.